welcome to the show. Let's get to the point. David, my co-host, Jonah here, and I am so privileged to have Christine back. However, she did air her podcast episode yesterday. That's why I decided she's a perfect fit to come on the show because she came from California and now she is living in Vegas. So welcome, Christine. I am so glad you're here. And good morning to all of our listeners and viewers and our LinkedIn family. And, just really seeing what's going on with post-election lifestyle change, Christine, and, sharing with us your insight because you are a financial coach, also a tax professional. So I'm kind of interested in some data as I've kind of, asked her behind the scenes and kind of just share with us, sort of in a fast track version, how it's like, you going into living in San Francisco and deciding to move to Vegas. But, before we do that, I just want to welcome everybody. So David, any words before we begin grueling Christine here? I'm just kidding. We're not doing that. It's an open conversation and, we just want to, kind of just share perspectives because I know as professionals, as entrepreneurs, as, this whole post-election, there's just so much to say, but yet so many things unknown. Mm-hmm. So David, take us there. What's up?
Well, I think what's up is that me and Christine and I kind of share a little bit of background interest in both having some experience in San Francisco. I didn't have the opportunity to live there, but that's where I met my wife about 10 years ago. She was a practicing attorney in the public law at that time for about 5.5 years. And there's just been some significant changes in San Francisco. I was actually there about a month and a half ago during Labor Day, and it's just drastically changed just from 2011, 2012 to now. Especially with COVID. What's been your experience, during your time there?
Yeah, so to make a long story short, I'm Chinese born and raised in the Philippines. So I immigrated here when I was not here, okay, Bay Area in year 2000. That was when I was 20 years old. And then so I lived there for 20 years. And then now I moved to Nevada. I'm now here in Las Vegas. So it's quite a difference. And California or Bay Area is the only place I've lived at since I immigrated here to the US. So it's, for the most part, it's been 2 months now since I live in Vegas. For the most part, yeah, I've lived there for a long time. So I think the main thing that's different here is that it is much cheaper and the weather was hot. And then I actually love the weather here better because I like being in shorts and dress and flip-flop type of weather. So now it's starting to get cold. Today's actually a little bit breezy. So they usually the cold months they say is like 2 months and then where you have to wear coat, but it's not like Bay Area weather. So I think I'm enjoying it here more. The summer I'm not so sure. It can get really hot. So I'm not looking forward to that.
That's what I heard about, the weather and the casual wear. Some people in Chicago, they dress up a little bit more because of the weather. You know what I'm saying? Like people that are living in a
that was definitely a transition for me moving from Chicago 4 months ago. And another, as I say, Christine, since you moved from Vegas to Vegas 2 months ago, you probably haven't dealt with the brunt of the weather. I have a friend who's actually a migrant or from Chicago to Vegas as well in the past year. And he was sharing, earlier in the summer that it was 114 degrees during the day and 90 at night. So I think next summer
you'll feel it. Yeah.
I moved here August 24th. So that week was still very hot. It was like 110. Yes. So it was like at first, and then I was like, what did I get myself into? So, but it started to get cooler the week after that, become 100, then start to lower. So yeah, after that it's been okay. I like the weather when it's like in the 80s and it's not, and then even at night I don't have to wear sweaters, so I love that. So in the Bay Area I was always wearing sweater all the time, and then so it's just a nice change of pace. I actually enjoy just I enjoy that type of weather, and it's not humid here, so it's better as well.
So the casual like experience. Yeah. A lot of people can predetermine why they want to move to a different location. For us, like we enjoy being here. but
Mm-hmm.
it feels cold right now, between the 50 to 65 degrees. For me, it feels cold, so I think I got acclimated. But with the sunshine and the weather, what else have you noticed, Christine? Like, what was the main, aside from the well, actually that's the most important part, but weather, lifestyle, taxes, like how does it look like on your end as far as being a tax professional as well? Like, from a data perspective or from your experience, what was the average, like, from what you've seen so far,
Mm-hmm.
W-2s, employees, what were they paying in California?
Mm-hmm.
And do you have any insight yet on what it looks like for Vegas? I'm just curious.
Well, Vegas doesn't have state income tax. So in California, I mean, like I just have my tax table in front of me. So I mean, yeah, if you're making like 140, 150K, so if you're single, you're looking at paying $10,000 for state tax for the whole year. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much the saving, right? $10,000 a year, and then that is something, $10,000 a year. So you don't have to pay that. But federal is the highest. I mean, at 145, you're still looking at like $25,000 at least, in federal state tax. So yeah, the federal is really the highest tax bracket, and then the state. I mean, California in reality, it's not the highest state with the highest income tax. So there are other states with higher income
Yes.
tax. So yeah. So but then I think in general, I think the what makes Vegas cheaper is just that the housing cost is just a lot cheaper because so the catalyst of me actually one of the reasons I moved out of Bay Area was because my long-term relationship ended, and then I was looking for a place to live, and then the one bedroom apartment, 600 square feet near where I was living for a luxury apartment was like 24, $2,600. So and then my business is mostly online now, and because of COVID, it became 100% online. So there's really no reason. I realized I live in the Bay Area for 20 years. I've never lived elsewhere. I'm working from home all the time. There's really is no reason why do I have to pay so much money somewhere. So I started looking at places that are cheaper. So I wanted somewhere where it's drivable from Bay Area because I have two dogs, so I don't want to fly them. So it was either Washington or Nevada. And Washington, the Space Needle of Seattle doesn't really excite me that much. So Vegas, I love the strip. I've been to the strip a couple of times, and then I do love that energy, that exciting energy, the
The
strip. And
city
then
life. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't do gambling, I don't really drink, and then I don't do that stuff, but there's still a lot to do. I mean, there's
Yes.
gonna be shows, the shows are gonna come back soon, and I do love going to the strip. I think it's fine, it's like the gigantic, casino, so it's just
Lights.
it's
Mhm.
beautiful. Yeah, it's just beautiful. I love it. So yeah, so then I started researching coming to Nevada, to Vegas. So I was talking to a lot of people. I was gonna move to Henderson, but it turns out there was an apartment available. It's slightly cheaper in Vegas vicinity, but I'm very close to Henderson, which is the city south of Las Vegas. So yeah, then I moved here, and then yeah, my apartment right now, because they do charge you extra for dogs, so it's 1250 for a luxury apartment, 800 square feet, and it has a washer and dryer. Almost all the apartments here have washer and dryer. In the Bay Area, it has to be a luxury apartment for it to have a washer and dryer. So yeah, I mean that's cutting $1,000, at least $1,000 off from where I'm, cost of living. So that is something. I'm saving $12,000 a year just on housing, and then also on the house. Like I plan to buy a house next year. I'm renting right now, so I can know where I want to buy. So the house here is like yeah, like you can find really a single family house with a backyard for 300 to $400,000
Yes.
in the Bay Area.
Well, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
based on what you said, to complement it before I lose the thought, is
yeah,
that you cannot get this luxury apartment in Los Angeles and save $12,000 a year. Just to put that
no,
out there, Christine.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure it's at least 2,000 is probably as costly as Bay Area. So it's just ridiculous. I mean, like my lifestyle wise, I mean, nothing has really changed. I mean, there's so many parks here. There's so many hiking. Like there's a lot of food here. It's Vegas after all. Like there's gonna be worldwide chefs in the casino if you really wanna spend the money. So there's really not a lack of stuff that from the Bay Area. So I really don't miss. anything from the Bay Area. I've lived there 20 years, so I'm really just enjoying my life here. It's been 2 months, and I've been proactively meeting people, making friends, and I already have a number of friends, so I'm pretty happy where I'm at. And then like, and also I have really taken it easy on my business, meaning that I haven't really shown up on social media as much as I used to. But then like, I do have my I do have my name out there already that people do find me. So I never have a lack of clients signing up that will make me profitable. So I'm still profitable, but I'm taking a lot easier. And yeah, there's just a lot to be grateful. I love my schedule. Sometimes I only have 5 sessions a week or 10, and the rest of the time I'm just doing something else. I'm taking my dogs to new places, new parks to walk them at, just explore, hang out with new friends. And yeah, I just love my schedule, or going to the gym. So I really love the flexibility. So yeah, it has really worked out for me so far.
I was going to say, Christine, I think the reason why Jonah wanted to have you on is for this particular show is also to kind of share what a lot of trends are happening in the market, especially during COVID, where people are leaving,
Yes.
California to go to find more affordable housing, especially now that a lot of people are able to work from remotely and they don't have the necessity to be grounded or tethered to a physical location in California, so they can
Mhm.
find cheaper secondary, tertiary markets like you did was go to Vegas and then ultimately cut your housing costs in half,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah,
I think that's really what's key and kind of essential to this
yep,
conversation is that point right there.
yeah, yep. I mean, I mean, the no state tax, I mean, that's just one thing, but I don't think that's a major reason. The major reason is really the housing. I mean, housing is the most expensive in Bay Area. And then, but everything else, like, I mean, food, grocery, I mean, okay, gas is cheaper. It's like $2 something. I think in California it's like $3 something. But I mean, that's not gonna break your bank. But mostly it's really the housing, because you're looking at saving at least $1,000 a month for rent, and then for if you buy a home, like I have met a number of people who, you know, in Silicon Valley, you need to have a very good job to own a home, like very good job, because you're looking at $1 million home, and it's not even a single family home, like
The
townhouses,
townhome.
condo is like
Right.
600, $700,000 for a condominium, 1 bedroom, one bath. Like you can find a single family home here. It's a luxury to own even to have a backyard there. It's just ridiculous. Like I don't even know how much the mortgage is, a couple $1,000. But here, 400, $300, $400,000 house, that's like, 12 to $1,500 a mortgage. So that's like equivalent to your rental. And then like for me, my plan is that if I'm gonna have a 3, 4 bedroom house, I'm gonna rent out 1 or 2 rooms. With the right roommate, because then, I mean, I might as well just make money out of it. Unless I'm in a relationship already, then I don't want to rent it out. But if it's just me, then yeah, I'm gonna rent it out, and then that will pretty much, pay for my housing expenses. And then so my cost of living is really gonna drastically go down. So it's just I just love the lifestyle. I'm happy. I don't feel like I have to work so hard. And then I mean, like, I wasn't working that hard in Silicon Valley, because I feel like once you find the work you're passionate about, like things just kind of flow. And so I'm very grateful and blessed in that sense. But yeah, if you can take it even easier, not to worry so much, why not? And then I have my 2 dogs here. I'm happy, the lifestyle is happy. So yeah, things are going good. And then like money is very important, and I do think that I do have some clients who's already moving out of state. Like one of them, he was making very good money. He was working on Netflix, but their house was very expensive, right? So they are actually moving out of California. And then there's another client of mine. He makes very good money, but then every month they spend like probably $15,000, because their mortgage is very, very high. $15,000, okay? And then they have 3 kids. So he has 3 kids. So he has a very expensive mortgage,
That's
but
expensive.
he makes very good money at Silicon Valley. And then he reports to the CEO, but then he feels like he's always working a lot. There's not a lot of free time. And then like, and even the weekends, sometimes if the CEO emails you, yeah, you better get to it and then answer that, right? So you're at the mercy of people
It's
on
boxed
the top.
in.
Yeah, and then I just hated that. I just hated that, being a corporate, having bosses, like, you always have someone to report to. I don't have anyone to report to. I keep myself accountable. I'm very confident. I'm very good keeping myself accountable. I don't need to have someone tell me, oh yeah, you're not showing up on social media, like blah blah, that's not good for your business. I was like, who cares? I'm the only person I have to answer myself to, because like the only thing I have to answer to is my budget spreadsheet. Like I just always make sure I'm profitable. If I'm profitable, I'm happy, because then I already did my retirement plan, because I'm single. And then like if I do get into a relationship, like I do prefer not to have kids. I don't have kids right now, so that actually is a lot better on your finances as well. So yeah, so I mean, I'm open to kids, but if I don't have kids, I'm happy too. So then I and I did my
It's
retirement.
true. It's true, though. Let me add on to that, Christine. When you have many kids, David and I can tell you, because he
Uh-huh.
has a third one on the way. I
Wow,
have
okay.
6. So believe me, all of that goes to having and raising children. And what I do like with what Christine is saying is, this lifestyle may not be for everyone. Being
Mm-hmm.
single, being in a relationship or not, sometimes predetermines that. And so it's not all about just the money. It's more like how it works around the money. So what I want to add on to this is, hearing from you, and I know I've heard some of the pieces, but I just love it because Christine also has a holistic way of looking at money, the relationship with money. So if I may add, part of her choices has to do with that too. So I think a lot of people who want to live the sort of, the what do you call that? The busy bee life. And you're constantly on the go. You want this, you want that. I think that's more of the EQ, the emotional relationship we have, with what we want to do. So for those that are tuning in, they're like, they have really good jobs, and you could be a nurse, you could be a doctor. We're not saying that this is for you, but for entrepreneurs too, sometimes they say, oh, you know what, running your business, starting your business, it's actually harder than keeping a corporate America or W-2 job. So the whole job security, the whole, growing your business, and, David and I have that perspective. It's not a fly by night thing when you start a business and now you're
Mm-hmm.
sort of living this
Yeah.
free time freedom lifestyle like Christine. With Christine, she still had to put in years to work,
Mm-hmm.
coming from her corporate America,
Mm-hmm.
employment, and transitioning to what she does now. So what I can see is, being in Los Angeles or San Francisco, it's really very similar. With
Mm-hmm.
high taxes, it's not the highest tax. You're right, but I'm saying is for someone who wants to live in a 600 square feet condo versus going to Vegas, and you can buy a single family residence, for 300,000-400,000, could be 2-3 bedrooms, and you can rent it out. That's income coming in, which is very smart.
Mm-hmm.
It's very savvy. But that won't work with everyone. I don't think it would work for you, David. It would work for me.
Well, I'm in California for a different reason. I mean, I'm in California because ultimately family. I mean, that's really what's key. And having younger children, having help is really what brought me here. But what I wanted to say is Christine's story is more, I think, just endemic of a lot of the trends that are going on from people moving out of California and moving into bordering states where the cost of living is lower. And Christine, I appreciate you mentioning some of your client base and some of their decision making, or their lifestyle constraints that have motivated their decision making to move into other places outside of Silicon Valley. Because I think that's something that's really important for the people that are on our listeners, for them to one maybe take into consideration is ultimately when you're making money, and really unless you have some great passive investments. And I don't know if that's all, to be honest, I don't know if that's always going to be real estate, just because there's a lot of market saturation depending on what aspect of you're in. But for most people who have W-2 jobs or who are solely 1099 employees, when you are in high house cost markets, it really becomes difficult to get off the hamster wheel. And I think what ultimately figured out, which a lot of Californians are figuring out, what there are markets that are close to California, which still have the benefits of having good weather, but also have
Right.
lower tax liability, or most importantly, lower housing costs, which, affects essentially what careers we may decide to take, what careers we may decide to stay in, based upon that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Right. It's a complex topic, but I think, with Christine's experience too, seeing different scenarios through her clients, I think that's, seeing what's actually happening on an average level, right? For everyone that's, in this space doing a W-2 employment, whether you're making $15,000 mortgage payments. I mean, when you look at it from a macro point of view, which is preparing for retirement, that's kind of like, whoa, you're like, whoa, let me reassess this. Even coming from West Coast, Christine, if I may share, I think Oregon is not yet. I know Seattle, it's really inflated there. With the cost of living, housing, there's homelessness issues as well. And coming here to California, we see that quite evidently. San Francisco and Los Angeles. There's just so much going on, and I think for people like us, whether we're entrepreneurs, whether we're already semi-retired, I wish I could be semi-retired like you, Christine. Less wrinkles on our face, right? When we don't have to show up, to those pressures. I think that's an important thing now with COVID happening as well. Everybody had to pivot, shift, zigzag, whatever you want to call it. I felt like, everything was turned upside down, from employment standpoint, from, the elections, from cost of everything. If you're not making income, what are you doing, right? Amidst this pandemic. So a lot of shift and change in the mindset and really reassessing careers, jobs, the new, I think that news that I saw back in June, I was so sad for the newly graduated college students. What are they doing? They're looking for work. They're looking for jobs. I was seeing so many posts of that. And then I looked at Ryan, Christine, whom you've met, and he's even worried about, graduating high school and saying, what am I doing? What am I doing? They're not teaching us anything, at school that's actually going to prepare us for real life. That's scary for the young generation, for the millennials. So really, I think the passion in this conversation takes on, bringing in more people like Christine to really open that up, because her story, I'm just like, wow, like, I wish I could be that. I wish I could have, sort of that sense of, hey, I want to move, like I've got everything covered. I'm accountable for myself. But when you do have a family and kids, that's a whole new subject. Because for me, I'd move to Vegas if in a snap of a finger, because I would look at the financial upside. And I do like Vegas. I love the strip. I agree with you, because when you go in there, you feel kind of like, wow, like I'm in the city, but really you have to be in the city. I love the fact that it's centered, like you can take flights out, I mean, minus COVID. But I can't do that because I have kids. And so, I ask myself, what do I do with that? Right? Because economically and lifestyle wise, that affects my decisions, even being here. And it has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with, financial scenarios and the pre-planning for your life, right? So what's your take on that, Christine, if I may ask? Like, what are some tax strategies for W-2 employees? What would be your top two best advice as far as, financial, foundation for them, so that they can take a look at whether they're in their 30s, 40s. And then your second advice, meaning, if they're thinking of moving out of California, I know that's a subjective question or answer, but what would you advise them to take a look at? Like, what angles you want them to predetermine before they make that decision?
Yeah, so I do want to say that, I mean, like, moving is not for everyone, right? So there are reasons, like, David, if like staying in
Right.
California or whatever. So I think, yeah, I do think that, I mean, if they really love California, or if they have family or other reasons to staying in California, then I mean, you just have to look at your budget. I mean, can you afford it? If you can afford it, then why not, right? Because like
Absolutely. Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, things you just have to pay for it, right? So for me, for my particular situation, it just didn't make sense to stay in California. So I have many reasons to just move out. There was nothing really keeping me there. But I mean, let's say, yeah, for W-2 employees, there's, I mean, there's not much, I get a lot of clients who come to me who makes a lot of money, especially from California, and they always complain, why is my taxes so high? You know? So the thing is that they have large amount of RSU or stock options. So that sometimes pushes their salary to
Okay,
half a
come up.
million dollars or
Oh,
more.
It
I
does.
mean, yeah, so that's really going to push your tax bracket to 37%, and there's nothing you can do about that. So I always remind my clients, stop looking at the glass half empty. Look at the glass half full. You're making a lot of money. You might not see that in cash because you haven't cashed that out yet or sold the stock, but you own the stock and it has value. It has value. So then if they ask me how can I lower my tax, they focus so much. It's like they're zoning in on like, okay, I'm paying so much taxes. But really, no, stop looking at that. Taxes is just part of the you can shift your mindset into like, yeah, like I'm grateful for making a lot of money, and then paying the taxes is just
That's right.
part of
It's the
making.
dues you pay, you
Well,
know?
Yeah.
there are ways you can lower, of course, lower your tax liability. I mean, I guess
Hmm.
the issue at hand is if you want to get involved with it. I mean, most of the people that we try to talk to on our, and on LinkedIn and our other respective
Hmm.
platforms is, invest in real estate. I mean, I guess that was one of the reasons why some people in this political climate are kind of sad that our current president is leaving, because they feel like him leaving will end up leaving to causing the new president to repeal some of the protections that were in place for real estate investment. And so the only thing I can say is to those people, you tell them invest in real estate. I mean, that's really pretty much an option for you. Yeah, if your income is based upon stocks, yeah, you're going to get taxed on it. You're going to get taxed the capital gains on it. So,
Hmm.
a workaround, of course, is always invest in real estate.
Hmm.
That's the only thing I can say. You know, there, there's a way to keep your money if you want. If there's a way to maintain your wealth,
Right.
if you want to
Look at the
try.
glass half full, and really read into that, and create strategies that would help. So whether it's real estate investing, whether you want to invest in a business, I think, having a side business really helps. Whether you're a sole proprietorship or, start your own entity, an LLC. Again, I'm not a business CPA or an attorney, but from my own experience, I feel that you should not look at taxes like it's a bad thing.
Hmm. Yeah, and David, I want to say, I mean, everybody always say real estate, real estate. I mean, like, yeah, sure, that you can save some of your taxes with real estate, but it's not the only thing. Yeah, I mean, like, I think like too many just get so zoned in. Oh yeah, I gotta do real estate, real estate. So if I have a client who's trying to like think about that, I always like to look at what are the real reason for doing real estate. Do they even like to be a landlord? Like, do they know all the responsibilities? Sometimes it's not for
Well,
everyone, but then for people, yeah, for
Mhm.
people who
Yeah.
thinks like I think they can do it, then that's awesome. But then I think the main point, yeah, you can lower your taxes, but I think the main point I'm trying to get to my client is that, yeah, you're making a lot of money. Like look at the glass half full. What that means is that when the more money you make, then the better your benefits is. Usually, like you have your 401k matching is gonna be higher.
That's
Your
right.
your everything else is just, you just get a lot more. Look at the overall picture. Like, the yes, taxes is higher, but that's just the price you pay for just having a high. And then to look at everything, I mean, like, you're still your net paycheck is much higher, and everything else is a lot higher, including the taxes. You can't go like, oh yeah, all the deposit go up and this stays here. No, like the taxes go with that, but it's not like, it does goes up, but it's not like it's the same price. So your net is still a lot higher than your taxes. So it's just a shifting of mindset, and I just refocus their attention somewhere else.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I definitely agree with they, focusing on the positives in that scenario. But I mean, there are options for you to lower your tax liability, and they don't have to be an active real estate investor. I mean, most of the people that, especially we kind of communicate with on LinkedIn, are not in active real estate investing. And as someone who's been involved in active real estate investing
Hmm.
slash management, I probably wouldn't do it again a second time.
Yeah.
A lot of people we speak to are more in the passive investment real estate space, whether it be through syndications, whether it be through triple net retail investing. Those are the people we tend to have conversations with. So, I mean, there are ways that for you to defer your, capital gains through stocks and through income if you want to. You just have to pretty much, want to get educated to it, or have the bandwidth to get educated to it.
And on that note too, like if you're making a, pretty good income and you decide you want to, go to the stock market, I mean, when you do have gains, I mean, it's 15%, I believe 15% straight up, like you're taxed. So there's
Hmm.
no way around that. And that's why even with that vehicle, they're looking for alternative vehicles. And to that note that David was saying is not everybody has to be active. It can be passive. And
Mhm.
from me, I come from a business structure standpoint. When you structure it properly, there are many more tax benefits through that. So it's not necessarily on the vehicle, but it could be on the structure of your business, whether you're active, passive, and you can be a business investor too. So, you hear terminologies like angel investing, venture capital, which again, that's, for the advanced, people that are doing it, they see all of that. And so I think in regards to, more on the W-2, if you are in that scenario, maybe this is a time to really think about a side hustle or a side business, and maybe sort of have a way to create that funnel, kind of offset your income as well. And maybe it's time to do that because we are in COVID. We don't know what's going to happen in the next year or so.
Mhm.
So it's really worth thinking about it. And what I like with what Christine was saying is it really shifting that mindset. People are too focused on, oh my gosh, I'm making this much, and oh my gosh, I'm not keeping too much, and I'm paying too much taxes. I think people are panicking in the wrong way, right? Rather than saying, hey, I can actually take this and do something with it. Open an IRA, be a passive investor, like to your note, David. And there's many of that out there that you can get fully educated on. And I really think it's our take based on lifestyle. I think what I learned in this conversation, Christine, is really a lifestyle choice. And it comes down to how do we support that lifestyle
Mhm.
choice,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
if you're not making any money, maybe that's what we need to gut out,
Yep.
right? Or if you're
Exactly.
making too much money, let's gut it out and get savvier, right? So that you can multiply the income per se.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was gonna say part of it's a lifestyle choice, but I think what's happened with COVID is that also the factor into kind of part of the reason why Christine's impetus was to move was that now you can work online. You don't have a physical brick and mortar location that you have to be in.
Yep.
So if that, if you're not required to go into a physical brick and mortar location for your job and you still have a paycheck or your career, or if you're an independent employee, you can still work remotely, then why wouldn't you?
Mhm.
That's
It's a way
true.
to say, yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
that's, yeah. Unless we're there, the scenarios with you and I where we have kids and we're kind of tethered to our respective markets. But if you don't have anything tethering you to your respective market and your business is online, why wouldn't you move to another market to save a little cash?
Mhm. Yep.
Whether regardless of what you're making, whether your business is profitable or not.
That yes, absolutely. I hear what you're saying. I mean, a lot of people are looking at Texas, Arizona, Oregon. I was just in an event where the speaker had moved from the East Coast to Oregon.
Mhm.
Better
Yeah.
taxes, maybe better lifestyle for her. So hearing that, it's an amazing time to, I think, really get it out there for those that are tuning in. This may be maybe not for you, and I think it just
Mhm.
enables you to really look at this perspective and say, I need to look at my personal finance. I need to see my lifestyle. Where am I
Mhm.
at in my
Yep.
career?
Exactly.
And should I start a business? And if I do, where are the resources? So,
Mhm.
on that note, Christine is on Instagram, Tay Financial Coaching, and she is a financial coach, tax professional. And, as you can see, she is enjoying her slow time in Vegas. I'm not pressured to take on, anymore, but you can find her and connect with her. And you can
Yeah.
also actually listen to her podcast, co-hosted with Ryan Cruz, on anchor.fm, Launch Your Wealth. And
Mhm.
David, my co-host, again, thank you so much for always engaging and opening this opportunity for all of us. And we are active on LinkedIn. So anybody that needs to find us, have questions, find us on LinkedIn. David H. Evans, Christine Tay, Jona Lemons on LinkedIn. So thank you again for being a part of this. And Christine, any last words for those that are thinking of this change?
Yeah, I mean, if you need someone to just talk to, you're always welcome to just set up a complimentary chat with me. So my website is Teh, and my last name TEH financialcoaching.com, and you can set a complimentary chat. And then for I also have my own podcast as well. I'm on iTunes, so it's called Life and Money with Christine Teh. And then I'm on LinkedIn, and I will get back to being active again. So you can find me my personal name, Christine Teh, and then everywhere else like YouTube, Facebook and Instagram is by my business name, Tay Financial Coaching.
And
Yeah.
it's
So
so important to talk to somebody. You're right, Christine. It's so important to consult with someone, a professional, but also to ask those questions. So anybody that has questions on multifamily, commercial, David is the man. He's definitely one advisor you'd want to talk to. And if you have any questions specifically on the show, contact me. Like I said, I'm on Instagram, Launch Your Wealth. And we are signing off. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, Christine. Thanks, David.
yeah,
Thank you,
thank you
Christine.
so much, guys. I
Thank you.
appreciate this. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.